is real. Listen.
Hi, I'm Traci.
And I'm Kathy.
And this is Curious Explorers. So hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Curious Explorers.
Hello, everybody.
I'm Traci.
I'm Kathy.
And we're super excited to be here with you live from the Paranormal Museum in Asbury Park, New Jersey. With our little creature.
That's Jimmy Leeds, the Jersey Devil.
And absolutely. Who knew he would make an appearance? I feel so honored, Kathy.
Well, I send out the invitations. Usually usually they show up one way or the other.
So today, not only are we fairly live, but we are going to talk about New Jersey Cryptids in honor of the Jersey Devil Fable Festival.
Right.
Which has been postponed due to weather, but it's still here.
Yes. And also it's a beautiful day. So just it's been postponed due to weather that did not arrive, but that's to be expected. And of course, we are going to talk about New Jersey's most famous cryptid, but it's not the only cryptid that New Jersey has. So there are a few more.
And afterwards, we're going to hear some from the dynamic duo of the Severed podcast.
Yeah,
honestly, which is just amazing and puts us to shame. But we good thing we have a healthy self-esteem. We can weather it.
And we're in a haunted location, so who knows? We might actually get some activity.
Oh my God, I'm hoping so. Kind of. But and then we're going to do a private.
I'm sorry. There are audience members showing up now.
Yes.
So thank you very much for joining us.
Standing room only is right.
Standing room only. Yes.
That's how we like it.
That's right.
So before we get into our cryptid discussion, I wanted to seriously welcome Drew and Harry from the Severed podcast. Seriously, it's amazing. Check it out. Give them a follow. My only fear is that then you won't still watch us because they're so good. But they're going to follow us tonight. We're super excited. The other thing is I wanted to say it's May and I wanted to do a giveaway. So I'm going to give away one, maybe two, who knows, maybe three, 100% off. So free albums, one of my intuition development albums with Hemi-Sync. Hemi-Sync's amazing. But what you'll have to do is you'll have to answer two things in the comments on YouTube if you want to enter the contest.
Excellent. So
the two things are this. You have to, post your favorite cryptid. If it's not from New Jersey, that's okay.
It's not okay.
It's
not okay.
and
then
then the other thing you have to do is answer me this. This is our trivia question of the night. I don't think Kathy came up with one, so it might just be this one. But so I am related by blood to one of the four podcasters here tonight. So you have to post correctly your favorite cryptid, which should be the easy part, and whether I am related to Kathy, Drew, or Harry. You got to guess. And you can only guess once. Don't try and guess like 3 times.
Or 4 times.
Or 4 times.
And then win.
And then
we're on to you. We figured that out.
Yeah. So that's that. Is there anything else we should cover before we... it's our anniversary. 1 year.
That's right.
Yay!
It's also National Paranormal Day. So happy Paranormal Day to all you paranormalists.
And we'll
weirdos.
Really?
Or as we
beloveds.
like to call you, our beloveds.
Our beloveds. That's your new name.
That's right.
So, and I will post pictures of our incredible anniversary gifts from the Severed.
They're so good.
Podcast.
They're so good.
It was like we couldn't have even thought of something.
I'm so excited.
So if there's nothing else, without further ado, let's talk about New Jersey cryptids. I have a list. This is not my area of expertise, but I'll weigh in as if it is, as I might want to do,
and as I do with every subject.
Yes, you do.
As if I know everything.
So, is it true, Kathy, that there are at least 10 cryptids native to New Jersey?
There are, absolutely. At least 10 that are commonly reported. Okay. Yes.
And just for the maybe 3 people who don't know what a cryptid is, can you just define that.
So a cryptid is an animal that is reported by people, but has not yet been substantiated by science, meaning there's no fossil record. And the most common cryptid reported is Bigfoot. So Bigfoot,
All right.
of which we have one.
Yeah. Well, we do actually.
Yeah, we do.
That's right. So what you may not know is that in addition to the cryptids, you probably know this because you know kind of everything, but that's a whole other issue in our podcasting
or at least
relationship.
at least I pretend to.
Yeah, absolutely. But New Jersey has over 1,000 non-cryptid animal species, and it's because the state has very diverse, different climates and areas, hardwood forests, coastal marine areas, the Pine Barrens, as we know, its own unique place, lakes, rivers, beaches. Yeah. Anything I'm forgetting?
No, I mean, and the Pine Barrens is a massive
urban areas.
Is a massive space. It's like
So Drew is offering satrials, which I think is from the Sopranos. You don't want to go there.
Yeah. A great pork sandwich, really good.
It's its own little microclimate.
Yeah. The Seven Hills restaurant in Bloomfield is no longer there, so we only have satrials.
So, Kathy, would you like to start? I might just opine. I might just say what I think.
I would say the obviously the most famous cryptid that we have is the Jersey Devil, and the Jersey Devil is the oldest monster reported in the United States, right? So, meaning before anyone ever reported a Bigfoot, meaning before anyone ever reported a chupacabra. The story of the Jersey Devil dates back to 1765. So it's the oldest known monster in the United States. But we also have something that's reported quite a bit, which is a version of Bigfoot, although he's not that big. He's not reported to be like 8 or 9 feet tall. But it's Big Red Eye. Big Red Eye is predominantly seen in Sussex County, Sussex and Warren County. And he appears to be a little bit more ape-like than Bigfoot is. There are some people who report Bigfoot as being ape-like, but Bigfoot really is very human-like. But Big Red Eye appears to be a little bit more ape-like than most reportings of Bigfoot. But I can tell you that there have probably been reports of Big Red Eye within the last week. I mean, the reports are very often, and they're consistent.
So I heard recently that one of the ways you'll know that Big Red Eye is in fact Big Red Eye is this horrible, loud, wailing, screechy noises.
And I think that's common amongst Bigfoot lore across the board. Yeah, Bigfoot is known for his call, big feet. Bigfoots. I think it's Bigfoots. I think Bigfoots is the correct thing.
Well,
or
we have grammarians in the audience.
Is it Bigfoots? It is Bigfoots, correct?
It's probably Bigfoots.
It's Bigfoots, because if it was big feet, that would be a herd of them, right? It's like, well, if they're big feet, but yeah, the one of the ways Bigfoots are pursued or hunted or people try to track them is vocalization. They're extremely vocal creatures, and Big Red Eye is specifically known for that. Big Red Eye seems to have more of a howl and a screech than, but in other parts of the country, when you're talking about Bigfoot, there are different types of vocal callings that people use that they get responses on. And you can go on YouTube and look up Big Red Eye and see recordings that people have captured of that sounds.
I'm just honestly not going to do that. I don't think I need another monster to worry about.
You can if you want to.
Well, okay, I'll keep that in mind. Other cryptids, since you were the cryptid queen.
Well,
I may say so.
Okay. Well, you know what? We'll go with Queen. We'll go with Queen for now. I prefer an elected position, but one of my favorites is and this is another cryptid that is common, that is reported in other places. So the reason why Big Red Eye is interesting is because it's not like the Jersey Devil, which is unique to itself. There is not another creature reported any place that resembles the Jersey Devil,
Okay.
and there's nothing like it in the fossil record, right? So it's completely unique. But Bigfoot, I mean, Big Red Eye, there are other Bigfoot type animals. So you could say, well, there's something in the fossil record. There's something, just somebody was moving. Tracy's like, I'm out. So somebody moved in their chair. I think it's a ghost. But, you know, like Sasquatch, Bigfoot, Yowie, all of these different creatures, you know, you could say, well, that makes sense because it appears that there's some kind of animal that's in different areas that people are seeing, right? The Jersey Devil is not like that. But there was a sighting of a sea serpent. So New Jersey actually has two water cryptids. One is a sea serpent that was seen off the coast of Sandy Hook, which is very close to here. And that was, it actually happened twice. Once was in the late 1880s. Another time it was in the early 19-teens. And it was a very traditional looking sea serpent, it was a massive animal, upwards of 50 feet long. And the interesting thing about these types of creatures, because they look like they have very snake-like bodies, is they're often seen and reported by people who are familiar with marine life. So it's fishermen seeing this. So when you see a fisherman and he's like, nope, it wasn't a right whale or it wasn't a sturgeon, you kind of have to take that into consideration. Yeah. Whereas if it were me, you know, I wouldn't know the difference between, you know, twine and, you know, and a sturgeon. So, you know, I would be like, no, totally a lake monster. And you'd be like, no, it was hose. So somebody left their hose out on the lawn.
It's running so fast.
Yeah. But I feel the same way about the Jersey Devil stuff, because the people who live in the Pine Barrens know the flora and fauna of the Pine Barrens. And I think when they say, no, it wasn't these things, I think you kind of have to take that into consideration.
All right.
So we have the Sandy Hook sea serpent. Like I said, it was seen twice. And then we also have a lake monster, which I think is like a Patcon. I'm not really sure.
It is. And I believe they affectionately call it, I always said him, I don't know,
Hoppy.
But Hoppy.
Yeah.
And has been seen since the late 1800s.
Right.
Supposedly, head of a large dog.
Yeah, and a lot of sea monsters are reported to have that type of a head. Yeah, a dog. They'll say a dog or a horse, or usually the dog, because the head is a little bit more snout-like.
Okay.
But that's very common. That's common in European lake monster reports and things like that, which again kind of leans into the idea that these cryptids may be throwbacks to earlier animals, or animals that just really haven't been kind of quantified or reported. And then you kind of get into some of the weirder stuff that we have.
Weirder than that.
Yeah, well, like
right.
we have a spook rabbit, right? So, and I don't know of any other place in the world where they're like, no, there is a terrifying bunny, you know, that will tear your shit up. You know, excuse me, adult. We're gonna have to beep that out.
They're going to be very small, but very tough.
Very tough, with like snarling, with teeth, like it very actually has
Monty
teeth.
Python.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
So people under like 55 will not get that joke.
Yeah, exactly. But it's true. That's exactly what it's like. And spook rabbit's been reported quite a bit, you know. So
it's like the only one I could tolerate. I don't think I like any of the other ones.
But that's the one that would get you, right? Because you'd be like, oh, you're so cute, you know, like it would just get you.
Thanks, Kat.
It would, because you'd be like, no,
because you're like, because I'd be running and leave you in the dust.
Well, first of all, I'm terrified of rabbits.
That's just crazy. Yeah, you're like around this haunted stuff all the time.
But I'm afraid of rabbits and squirrels. Those are the two. That's it. That's where I draw the line, because they can get you.
And premonitions.
So everything in this room, you know, they're like sneak up on you. And I will also say, there's a squirrel on my roof that is a total jerk. And just literally, I'll do that stutter thing to try and get it to run away, you know, like that. And it's just like, what? It's like, come at me, bro.
Jersey squirrel.
It's the Jersey squirrel.
That's the
Oh my
11th cryptid.
We also have the Jersey squirrel. You know, forget about it.
He
You know?
goes to somebody else.
Like that with the pork sandwich you got. What are you talking about? Like this. What am I supposed to do?
Don't take my number.
She was coming for my nuts. What was I supposed to do? You know, I got my nuts to take care of.
This is going to be totally censored by YouTube.
Exactly. Sorry, kids. Sorry.
Not for children.
So the other thing is New Jersey was home to the Delaware Indians, right? So the Lenape Indians.
Okay.
And so
I don't know where this is going. I have no idea.
So, well, I mean, so speaking of nuts, there was a great native tribe. This is not going anywhere.
I don't even know what we're doing.
So, well, it's going to this one here.
But
right here. So
can you pronounce that?
No, but
I'm afraid
I'll try
that
it. I think it's Wimatagunas.
Yeah, I think that's what I would say. I mean, all right, I'm going with it.
And if I'm wrong, you won't know either. So, but you feel free to correct me. So, but it is interesting because
are we still on the Wimatagunas or
no? Okay. Now we're going.
Now we're there. Okay.
So there's the Jersey Devil. And I'll keep pulling it back because it is so. A lot of this folklore does come from, or is validated by stories from the Lenape times, right?
Okay.
So unfortunately, the Lenape language or its history, which was an oral tradition, was unfortunately essentially destroyed by this total jerk in the late 18th century who wrote a fictitious history and ended up kind of supplanting the actual true history of the Lenapes. And it's very unfortunate because the oral tradition was destroyed and it was replaced by kind of this BS that this guy had written. However, there were certain oral stories or oral traditions that had been handed down that had been shared with colonists, including the story of a creature that very much resembled what we would call the Jersey Devil. So the Jersey Devil has a very specific story. The story is very much a folkloric story. However, the idea of the Jersey Devil came from a creature that was reported by the Lenape, by the Delaware Indians. And they called the area in the Pine Barrens Popowessing, which essentially translated into something like Land of the Dragon, right?
Okay.
And the Jersey Devil resembles what we would call a dragon. They also had a very strong belief in kind of sprites and fairies, or what we would call sprites and fairies, but essentially elementals and spirits of the forest.
Yes.
And this is where we have another cryptid, and I hesitate to call this a cryptid. Yes.
The Wimatagunas.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I hesitate to call the Wimatagunas a cryptid because I don't think they're an animal. I think they're more like they're a sentient, almost very human-like being, right? They remind me of the Picts, or other either other hominids that are reported in other places, and could even be humanoid.
I was just going to ask.
Yeah,
could
humanoid.
They be human.
They could
very
be
tiny.
Yes, they could be human, like the hobbits. Where as evolution happened, we kind of splintered off into multiple things. However, they're incredibly strong, and although this name is unique to New Jersey.
Okay.
There are similar creatures reported pretty much wherever native peoples were. So you have them in parts, you have creatures like this reported in the Southwest, you have creatures like this reported in Canada, and they are essentially seen as ancestral spirits of whatever the land is.
Okay.
But these creatures are actually still seen, and they're still seen both here in New Jersey, in the Pine Barrens, which is obviously our it's bigger than Yosemite, it's bigger than Yellowstone, it's massive. But also parts of Sussex, and also up into upstate New York. So there are still people who report seeing them. Definitely people consider them to be spectral. So they don't consider them to be physical. Like, in other words, there's not a tribe somewhere, or people don't report this as a tribe. So this is definitely something that's more of a spirit than
reportedly really little, like 3 feet tall.
3 feet tall, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Superhuman strength.
Superhuman strength, very, very much resemble
my family.
Yes. I don't know, that photo of your mom. I
might have to post that, but I'd have to put a little sticker on her face.
For those of you who don't know, Traci, how tall are you?
5'1 1/4.
And when you have to add
the quarter,
don't believe the quarter. Okay, it's baloney.
I'm usually swinging my feet.
Right.
Below,
yeah, exactly.
Below the level
I
of the
tower
camera.
over her at 5'4". Right, I crush her at 5'4". So she shows a picture of her next to her mother, and her mother comes up to her shoulder. It was the cutest thing.
I look
it was
like
the cutest thing.
like
Tracy's like
Attack of the 20-foot woman or whatever.
Or normal sized, but I would say, I mean, and
we're very strong. It's remarkable.
But these creatures are very powerfully built, so but they also have physical attributes that are not human, or are not what we would
also like
think.
My family.
Yeah. Those hairy feet. I don't know what to tell you about.
It's the same people.
Yeah, it's just the Steins. I'm sorry, guys. It's Wamatagunis Stein.
Yeah, that's the
long
long name.
Yeah, that's it.
Formal.
Yeah, that's the formal name. It got changed to Ellis Island.
Yeah,
as everyone says. Oh, yeah, that was my name. My name was actually Kellyopolis. But is reported and has been seen to help people. I got lost I didn't personally, although it 100% could happen. I got lost in the Pine Barrens, and these creatures assisted or protected.
Good. Okay, well that sounds good.
Protected the pine lands from different things like that. So I'm not sure that I would consider that a cryptid, because I don't think that's necessarily an animal.
Okay.
But people definitely reported it's definitely one of those strange, very specific to New Jersey type things. Another cryptid that we have. Go ahead.
Sorry, I wanted to introduce
this one because it's in your it's her neighborhood.
Yes, it's in my old neighborhood.
Stomping ground.
Yes, my old stomping ground. The Hoboken Monkey Man.
Mm-hmm.
So I lived in Hoboken for 100 years. The Hoboken Monkey Man is rumored to stalk children of Hoboken. First of all, whoever decided to put this in print, I'd just be so uncomfortable. But this ape-like creature is supposed to be extremely violent.
Yeah, very strong.
And known for kidnapping some children and throwing others from windows. And I actually don't even want to comment on that further, because I feel like in these times we have people listening to the podcast that I wish were.
So I'll comment.
Okay.
Well, I think that you have a real boogeyman here. You know what I mean? So you have this kind of folklore where, although these sightings were in the 80s, so it's not like
That's
that.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's not like we're going back to
1800s.
Yeah, the 1870s or whatever. We're talking about in the 1980s. Hoboken was crazy fun in the 80s. But you are talking about, people did report seeing this, and it was reported in newspapers. People definitely reported seeing things. This stuff about kidnapping children or throwing them from windows, that seems to me to have been added to scare children into behaving. Behaving. So as you people were reporting this, it was in the newspapers. It was probably, it was probably something they thought was fun to report, like the leprechaun in Alabama. Remember that? That leprechaun in Alabama? So it's like
you're probably the only person who remembers.
No, it was big. It was a big viral thing. But
I don't know.
Did nobody else remember the leprechaun?
No.
Okay.
He was yelling Roll Tide all the time.
Yeah. And there would I will honestly tell you, there's no way there was a leprechaun in Alabama. No way. But there was one that was reported. No, and it was a big viral thing online. It was one of the things that really got YouTube going, was that it was a clip that was shared over and over and over.
Now I have to Google
but
that.
But I don't even know if it might have been Mississippi. It was one of them.
And that's not even on our list of cryptids.
Well, it's not New Jersey. So but I do think what happened was it became kind of this fun story, or this interesting story, and then parents were like, guess what, the monkey man is going to throw your ass out this window if you don't sit it down and eat that tuna sandwich. You know what I mean? So and I do think that's kind of, but I mean, I will say it was reported several times in the 80s. He was reported several times in the 80s.
Yeah, I don't even know where to go with that. I'm just gonna. I can't add to that.
The other one, the next one is actually really cool too.
Oh,
the other one.
Oh, this one.
You wanted to go with this one.
I kind of don't even want to think about it. But the mantis man, mantis man, is a giant bug-like creature, and it's said to live near the I'm going to get this right. Musconetcong River in Hackettstown. We're going to get like comments like, you don't even know how to pronounce.
Oh my.
But it's supposedly over 9 feet tall. And it's like, what's odd about this? Like that alone isn't odd.
But what's really odd about it?
Normal praying mantises actually tend to stay away from water, but not the giant one.
That is the weird thing.
Yeah,
that is
if
weird.
That's what you're seizing on is weird. It's over 9 feet. It's a 9 foot tall insect.
That's really. It is strange that
horrible.
It is strange that it's okay with water, though, right?
No, I think the whole thing is strange.
No, I agree.
I think the whole thing is terrible.
What is interesting too is a lot of these stories are.
Did you see that?
Or what?
I feel like I just saw something. No, I know I'm always saying that, but I actually feel like
every podcast.
but
it's just a very dusty room.
I don't know. Oh my God, did you see that? Did I imagine that?
I don't know. Well, we'll see if we caught it on. We have multiple cameras. But I do think it's interesting. Like New Jersey kind of has this reputation of also being like a real, chemical plant type place where stuff. So I think that when you see the mantis man or the monkey man, there's also this whole reputation of like,
don't drink the water.
Yeah, don't drink the water. Radium girls kind of stuff. So that one I had heard of before. I don't know that there was more than one or two sightings.
That's
of
bad
that.
enough.
Yeah, but I mean, if it's not repetitive, then to me, it's somebody who probably mistook something or, is just full of shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. Full of baloney. This next one, the white stag of Shamong, is another one of those spirits of the forest. And I really like
kind
this.
Of nice.
Well, it is nice. It's protective. It's a protective forest spirit. And I think what's really interesting about it, and what's interesting about the little elves that we were talking about, and the Jersey Devil to a certain degree, is people don't think of New Jersey as being a place with an enormous amount of forest, or very, very kind of untouched areas. And
they just think
do.
Exits.
Well, that's because a lot of people fly into Newark. You know what I mean? And if you fly into Newark, if you only judge us by the Turnpike and by Newark, you're not going to get a really good understanding of just how vast New Jersey's territory is, and how very different it can be. We have very urban areas, but there's a lot of New Jersey that is not settled. Like the Pine Barrens is massive, and the northern parts of the state is and the western parts of the state are largely farmlands, and these types of kind of creatures that are protective of those areas, I think, are really interesting.
No, it is interesting. I honestly, before you said, "Oh, there's at least 10 cryptids," I had no idea, never gave it a thought. Jersey Devil was the only one on my radar,
and nobody had heard of the Jersey Devil until the early aughts of 2000. I mean, in New Jersey we had, But it was only after, even though it was the New Jersey Devils was named after the Jersey Devil, I guarantee you, if you talk to 90% of the people who are fans of the Jersey Devils, they have no idea why it's called the New, why the Devils, the hockey team is called the New Jersey Devils.
I honestly didn't know there was a connection.
And it's like, I think people in from the Pine Barren area, there was a chip on their shoulder about it because they were mistreated because of their either belief or acceptance of it, but also just because they were perceived as being a certain way. I just think when people from outside of New Jersey learn about, about what our state is really like, it's a very small portion of the state that most of the people think about. They don't realize that there's mountains and vast forests and things like that. Cryptids galore.
So our last one, Kathy, maned American lion, which actually doesn't sound that cryptidy to me.
So it wouldn't be cryptidy. It's kind of like the big black cats that are seen in different places where essentially it's not really a cryptid because it does exist, right? But the maned American lion is not a real. That's not an actual lion, right? It's not a lion that's accepted in zoology. And there are people who say that this particular animal is prehistoric and that there's just kind of a sect or a breeding population that survived. I actually think that there's a lot of evidence that this is seen mainly because in the early 1900s, there was a train wreck of a circus train where they were moving from, they would move their animals by night. They would move everybody by night. And they would move them along train lines. And there was actually a train wreck that resulted in a huge loss of life. But a lot of the animals escaped into, again, the Pine Barrens, into the Pinelands of New Jersey. And they didn't get all of them, and I think that, they didn't get them all. Some of those wily cats, and I think that there was a breed. Ultimately, they were able to breed, and they were there, and including kind of the change. And I'm going to go back to the Jersey Devil. People started reporting that the Jersey Devil had more of a kangaroo-like face right around the time that this train wreck happened, and of course, kangaroos were amongst the animals, but so too were lions. And so I will say this: there have been lions found in New Jersey, and that's empirically proven. It's that these lions that people report seeing don't appear to be the same type of lions that, I don't know. I'm kind of like, if you found a lion and he saw a lion, I'm going to assume
you're not reporting it. I'm thinking you're not making it back home to report.
No, I'm assuming that the lion that you found was the one that he saw. I'm not going to assume that there were two different types of lions, But again, it's just the vast space, and while we are here with the most famous of the cryptids of New Jersey, I think there are more, but these are the biggest ones. But if nothing else, it goes to show you that New Jersey is a very creative state.
Absolutely.
Very, very creative
place. So I actually think that might do it for tonight.
Yeah.
But, let us know what your favorite cryptid is. Again, if you want a chance to win one of the Cultivating Intuition albums, you got to let us know in the comments. Favorite cryptid.
Right.
And who am I related to? Is it one of the severed podcasters? Right? Drew, Harry? Is it Kathy? Is it maybe it's the Jersey Devil? I don't know.
We're going to have to get DNA on that
one. But yes, post your answer. You only can enter once. But so good to see you in person.
Exactly.
We'll celebrate our anniversary by ghost hunting tonight.
That's right. We're going to ghost hunt tonight.
Yes.
If we get to anything, we'll definitely get it out to you guys.
And we'll get some footage of that. But until next time, as always, thanks for joining us. Stay curious.
Keep exploring.
And stay tuned for Severed.
Coming up.
Bye for now.
I know that the paranormal is real. Listen.
You've just listened to the Curious Explorers podcast with the Kathy Kelly and Traci Stein. If you enjoyed the episode, remember to like, share, follow, leave us a comment, let us know what you think. And of course, until next time, stay curious.
The paranormal is real. It is real. The paranormal is real. Is it? The paranormal is real. It is real. The paranormal is real. Is it? I know that the paranormal is real. Listen.
You've just listened to the Curious Explorers podcast with the Kathy Kelly and Traci Stein. If you enjoyed the episode, remember to like, share, follow, leave us a comment, let us know what you think. And of course, until next time, stay curious.
The paranormal is real. It is real. The paranormal is real. Is it? The paranormal is real. It is real.